Okay, we're here today to talk about the spindle sanders. We had two new ones in the shop. A lot of the members have already used them. Our reviews have been pretty good coming back on it. The biggest thing is don't over tighten the spindle when you put it down in the unit. Don't wrench it in. Just turn it in by hand. And they work out really well. A lot of times you can grab the cup underneath and just spin the spindle and you can take the smaller spindles out. The problem that we have with the big spindle is they get in there pretty tight sometimes. And one of the problems that causes that spindle to bury itself is when someone is sanding this piece coming through here, all of a sudden they decide, well, I want to take this rise or I want to put a dent in here, and they push into it and they really lay into it. When they do that, that really tightens up the spindle. And then it's kind of hard to get out. So use the spindle. Work it like you're working against the way it spins. You know, you're working against it just like with a router, and you're cleaning your product. But if you got the large 3-inch end, don't just try to push through to make your dents, or you want to remove a bunch of material that you probably could have cut before you come here, and you just want to take it off and a quick whack with the spindle. So when you're doing that, just don't put a lot of pressure on there. It doesn't need to be. Get the rings out. They're pretty simple. They all have a pin in them. So the pin drops in. When the pin drops in, everything's square. Everything locks up. Underneath, you can see there's a aluminum cap that sits over the oil bath, and it keeps all the dirt out of there. There's a nut that holds that down. We never want to disturb that lower nut. You'll see it better here in a second when I take the spindle out. The only two nuts we're worried about is the second nut and the nut on the bottom of the spindle. Those are the two we use when we undo it. So hold here, take it here, and then the spindle is out. Now if you look in from the top, this is the nut you want to hold, and this is the nut, or the shaft of the nut that you're going to grab with the wrenches. Those two wrenches are used. Top nut, not the bottom nut. You see the bottom nut goes down and it jams on this aluminum cap to protect that. So we just want to hold this here, which keeps the machine steady. Turn this one to take it out. If it's too tight, if it's in there just hand tight or whatever, you just grab it here. You can do it like that, and they'll spin right out, and should not have a problem. Some people, when they have trouble with this, you know, they come in and think, well, I got to reach in there with these wrenches and I got to do all this work. You know, you can figure out which size is working where, when. And you got this. So I like to do is I like to take this wrench, slide it right in, and catch the top nuts because I'm right against the deck. And then I just hold it up. And I can set my other wrench underneath. And then that allows me to, once that's loose, once I get everything set, I come around and I just go, and out it comes. That makes it pretty easy. This nut and the top nut on the bottom are the ones you want to have. And don't forget to clean your paper often. A lot of people will run a spot right into the paper because they never want to use the eraser. So, and don't adjust the plate. The plates are all adjusted. They've all been set. You don't have to worry about resetting any of our screws. We don't want to raise one side higher or lower to get a little bit of angle. Just don't mess with the set screws on the plate. That will work well. Other than that, they're really, really simple. Keep them clean. Use the eraser a lot. Remember how it turns, so you're working against the turn. And it's pretty simple. If you got something round and it's very close, and you want to drop over a spindle, turn it off. I watch them spin around there when they rip them out of your hands and beat up your fingers. Try to keep everything on the deck. If you're half mooning stuff, that's all really easy. Just don't push too hard. Let the sandpaper do its work, but don't overwork it at the same time. All right, so that's a really simple machine. So you should do very well there. Thank you.